A massive extension is incoming for the Toronto Blue Jays as multiple new reports and rumors are starting to swirl surrounding one player and his future in Toronto. We're going to write down exactly who that is and discuss what it means going forward as this changes the outlook not only of this season, but seasons beyond this into the future for the next half decade for this team. And write down exactly what that is, as well as some other updates ahead of this afternoon's big game against the Tigers, where the Jays look to win the series against the best team in baseball. A ton to go over today, folks. Before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage, you aren't subscribed to the channel, you guys have been beasts. Thank you for your continued support over here. If you want to continue to support the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're part of the 71% who aren't. And again, thank you guys if you are subscribed for all the continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, the Toronto Blue Jays, they have been playing decent baseball. Obviously, we've had some guys, but there's one guy in particular who has been an absolute beast, and it is Daulton Varsho. And some articles are starting to drop now surrounding his future in Toronto. And you can see this article here. Shout out to it. The article goes on to say that the Toronto Blue Jays, coming off of a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 14-year, $500 million extension, are primed to lock up another one of the most important players. No, this isn't in reference to Bichette, but it's referring to Gold Glove winning outfielder Daulton Varsho and his incredible abilities in 45 plate appearances since, of course, his injury, where he missed over a month to start the season. He's produced a 133 WRC plus. And if you're unfamiliar with the actual contract and how it currently stands now, they avoided arbitration with Varsho last offseason with a $8.2 million deal. And he's set to become a free agent in 2027. So after next season. And if Toronto wants to keep Varsho with Jay long term, it's going to have to happen pretty soon. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a ton more to go into, some more reports, some more rumors. But this has sparked a huge conversation. Obviously, Daulton Varsho, in this series alone, but since coming back to the Jays, not only have the Jays played significantly better since his, return to the team, just in general, but he is a young player. And there has been multiple times where you look at Daulton Varsho and you say, hey, if this guy can put it together and put together a league average to slightly above league average season, he's going to be one of the most valuable players in baseball. And you can make a case he's one of the most valuable center fielders in baseball right now, just simply based off of his abilities and his production so far. He has made a change of approach. He has changed, to his batting stance that has changed the way that he continues to hit the ball. And he has been absolutely crushing it. And Daulton Varsho has been not only just, a fantastic defensive player, but a beast offensively. And it's at the point now where not only are the Jays winning because of it, but the Jays need to lock this man up. And I want to dive into this tweet a little bit here. You can see here from West. Daulton Varsho can't leave the Rogers Center without a fat contract extension. He's so vital to the Blue Jays. And this is, of course, referring to yesterday's game when he hit a double down the right field line. And to start, I guess not start the bottom of the ninth, but with one out to, get the bottom of the ninth going a little bit. And then ultimately led to the Ernie Clement walk-off yesterday. Having Daulton Varsho on this team, do I expect him to keep a 133 WRC plus, which is 33% better than league average? No. If that is between 110 and 115, like it was the year before the Blue Jays traded for him, you are in an extremely good spot because Daulton Varsho is about as safe as you can get for an extension. And Vladdy, there could be some risk there. His abilities defensively, all these different things. With Daulton Varsho, there is not much risk depending on what he gets because of how good his defense is. And he stands atop the baseball savant leaderboard with 52 outs above average since 2020. And he's only, behind Harrison, or only slightly ahead of Harrison Bader. That's the only person who's even close to him. He also ranks third in all of the MLB when the field narrowed to 2022 and 2025. And the years in which he played full seasons. He is just fantastic, and he should be winning platinum gloves. We have Chris Bassett, all these different guys saying this, but I do want to touch on this, and this was from earlier on in this season, even before the season as well. So when, Ross Atkins signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that lengthy extension, they want to focus on keeping the core together. And you can see there in the third paragraph, Gregor Chisholm of the Toronto Star wrote that Ross Atkins has reportedly had discussions with Daulton Varsho on an extension dating back to the end of last season. And according to Chisholm, Varsho said that he and the Blue Jays front office originally had a talk about it before the season ended last year. And this is, big. And obviously, we briefly covered it at the moment, but obviously the starlight and all the focus was on specifically not Daulton Varsho, but it kind of got shadowed out. It was on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But now that the shadows are taken away, Daulton Varsho, this was a big comment from Ross Atkins. They've had active extension talks with Daulton Varsho, And now this seems like a better time than ever to get this done. And we're talking about this Blue Jays core. Is Bo Bichette going to be a part of it? They're probably going to see how they stand as the trade deadline approaches and then maybe move off from Bo Bichette if they're out of a playoff race. Hopefully that doesn't happen as they're playing okay baseball right now. But that's something they have to consider. There's no world they trade Daulton Varsho. You need to extend him. You do have another year of control after this, but lock him up. And as you look at the core right now, it's currently composed of and comprised of Guerrero, Andres Gimenez, Anthony Santander, and now recently extended Alejandro Kirk as well. So those are the 4 guys who are locked in. You get Daulton Varsho there, you can build a team around those guys. You hope that Anthony Santander can hit a little bit more. Santander. Hopefully Santander can hit a little bit more. Andres Gimenez continue to play elite defense. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Alejandro Kirk, looking like a steal of a signing for Kirk. The team is in good shape. You have to extend the guy. And look at his stats, since 2021. Obviously in Arizona, 1.6 WAR. 2022, the season before the Jays traded for him, he had his best offensive season, a 745 OPS for a 108 OPS plus with a 5, B WAR. And he, surpassed that in 2024 last year due to his, defensive abilities. And whether you prefer B WAR or just baseball reference WAR or F WAR, which is Fangraphs WAR. Usually Fangraphs WAR is a bit more accurate for position players, but regardless of that, this is fantastic. 5 WAR, and this season he's accumulated a 0.9 B WAR, and I'm assuming a slightly lower F WAR, but he has a 152 OPS plus with some of the best defense in the game, ladies and gentlemen. And no matter what, again, this is a very small sample size, and the outs above average aren't going to really reflect that this early on. But man, oh man, can he hit. Of course, this Savant page says 935 OPS. This was an older one that hadn't updated quite yet. It's went down a little bit, but he's still crushing the baseball no matter how you look at it. And you're at the point now where, you pair the Daulton Varsho success with Bo Bichette. And as we kind of shift now to the focus in today's game, he has 11 hits, 4 walks, and 7 extra base hits in his last 7 games. He's on pace for a fantastic season, although the home run still needs to come and the power is slowly starting to come around. He's back to his league averages now, and league averages for him. So I guess his, the averages he's been experiencing, which has been fantastic throughout his career. If you can get Bo Bichette back on track, you get Daulton Varsho, even continuing to play this well, but extend Daulton Varsho. The core, it doesn't look that bleak now that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is extended. There's a lot of talk about how bad the core is, all these things before Vladdy's extension. You can lock in a very solid 5 players that you can build around, especially depending on how you see fit. And if you extend, Bo Bichette, it even, that's another piece that you can build around. But the biggest focus for me is extending Daulton Varsho. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. It needs to happen. I want it to happen, and the time is now for it to happen. So let me know what your thoughts are. Also, a couple other things before we wrapped up. And I just want to touch on this. Obviously, Santander, he did pinch hit in yesterday's game. He got intentionally walked. The exact lineups at the time of recording this aren't out yet for this afternoon. But just a quick update, what came out yesterday evening. So once ready, Schneider said he'll probably move Santander down in the lineup to take a little bit of pressure off him, also capitalizing on Varsho and what he's doing right now. This is prior to yesterday's game. And again, he wasn't in the lineup due to soreness and impingement of what's going on. Hopefully available off the bench, which he technically was. I'm hoping they just either play him or, if he's seriously hurt, maybe put him in the IL, get somebody else up in there. But it's really frustrating. Not necessarily, it's not Anthony Santander's fault at all, but it's frustrating at times seeing, so many players, not necessarily so many players get injured, but in this case, Santander, it's unfortunate for him that he's dealing with this soreness and continuing to do that. But it's interesting because we saw Miles Straw pinch hit yesterday, and then we saw Anthony Santander later. So why not pinch hit Anthony Santander earlier? Regardless, he's struggling offensively. I don't think John Schneider is going to be very careful with where they play him. Very curious to see if he plays today, but it is an injury rather than just him slumping. So big update there. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this, and let me know what you would sign Daulton Varsho to if you were to extend him, how many years, and how this core looks. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been beast. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later. You guys are the best. Cheers.